and she'll try to address everything if it's there on chat.
Yep.
And we might just do it like, I think, Kenza, you were saying that we're going to keep a format of like, you can ask me some questions and then we can take audience questions so that every topic is discussed that way.
Yeah. Let's keep it as interactive as possible. If we're talking and you think of a question or a question that has already, that pops in your head every now and then with regards to data science, write it, send that chat to us. We will keep your question. We'll ask that question on the spot while we're talking with Wardah. So that's going to be good as well.
Like, are you targeting me, Kenza, now?
Yes, I am. Does anyone, so Omama pointed out, but we have this emotional attachment to the background that's there at Wardah, on Wardah's screen. Did you notice?
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
It's the city campus entrance, right? Yeah.
Yeah, it is.
No,
That's where I spent 2 years, so I'm a little biased. I know there's a lot of main campus people here.
Campus.
Kenza, you can be here if you don't know which campus
fine.
it is. Sorry.
Yeah.
Hello, everyone.
Hi, Mariam. How are you?
I'm okay. Stuck at home.
Okay, it's all of us right now. We have Ranveer here, Ruby, Sadiq. I mean, guys, introduce yourself. I'm a very friendly person.
That's what she says.
So, Wardah, you are from City Campus?
Yes. So,
okay.
Oh, you're from Maine?
Yeah, but I had few classes there.
What batch are you?
2016.
Yeah, I was gone, long gone by then.
Did you take classes from Ahmed Reza?
Yes, I did. He was
I miss him.
Character. I used to butt head with him a lot. I mean, I was always like,
I mean, he used to throw so much stuff at us and like, oh my God. He was crazy.
I'm from the main campus.
Okay. I'm also partly from the main campus. I taught there. Does that count?
I've seen you there.
I know.
Yeah.
Hi guys, it's Ruby.
Hi, Ruby.
I'm from the main campus, but a long time ago.
How long is that a long time ago?
That's like 1997 I graduated.
Wow.
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
Anybody here who's not from IBA? Because I don't know if we're like feeling like we're a culture talking just about IBA.
Yeah, I think there are, because I can see some names. So I think now a lot of people have joined in. So it's 12:04. Do you want us, Kenza, Wardah? It's up to you. Do you guys want to start with a basic introduction?
Yeah, sure. So it's 12:04. Let's set the rules of the session first. This is an extremely interactive session. It is your chance to ask questions regarding data analytics, data science, the field itself, people who are involved in this field. Your questions are welcome at any point of the session. You don't have to worry about, you don't have to keep your questions to yourself and wait till the end. This is an extremely friendly two-way interactive session. So make sure that you're writing your questions to us. We'll pick up your questions if they suit the conversation that's happening at that time, and we'll ask that question. I'm going to mute all of the participants of the meeting as soon as we formally start the meeting. And then once I see your question, I would unmute the participant who has that question, and then we can have a two-way conversation right there. I hope that's clear. And I think 12:05, and it's a good time to start the meeting. And
I think there is a request to get 2 people in the chat.
Yes. As far as the registrations are concerned, we are approving the members who joined us this morning or until the last night. So hopefully they would be in the meeting room very soon. So don't worry about the registrations or don't worry about invitations. We're letting folks join us in this meeting room today. Okay, so we'll start. Wardah, how do you feel? Feeling good?
Feeling good.
Okay, great. Yes, good afternoon, everyone. Good afternoon from Toronto. It's 12:05 here, And we're excited to begin this session that's called Sneak Peek into the World and into the Field of Data Science and Data Analytics. We have Wardah Mughal with us today, who has, as she'd like to say, she loves to quote Drake and says, started from the bottom. And I think that's true for us, for all of us right here. But the good pivot in her career was when she moved into data analytics. And the fact is that she started as a sales associate, as a salesperson, and moved into the IT world as an IT consultant. She has worked for Source, CDW, also had a little gig at Oracle, Ingram, and TD. So she has a good balance of the banking sector, also the IT sector. And then she moved up the ranks and became the IT consultant, where she was not just talking to executives, but also the people at the field, but also the customers. So if you understand the triangle of profitability, she was right there in the middle of it. And what interested her, I think what became her passion, was something that she always had in her: numbers, be it money or numbers or profitability or bottom line. I think that's one thing that, this is just my understanding of Wardah, and this is just our introduction, how we take Wardah as a numbers fanatic. And I'll just open the floor to Wardah to let her introduce herself to our members here.
Thank you so much, Kenza. I'm extremely humbled by that introduction. That's rightly put. And thanks for IACC for having me here. I hope this is an informative session for you guys. They will send out to me afterwards as well, to have a one-on-one conversation. So like Kinza mentioned, I've had different roles. A little bit background of me is that I got, what got me interested in data science, I would say, is that I did my computer science from IBA. So I studied there for 2 years, and then I took a transfer to York, where I did econ, and I did not like that transfer, where we had to do what we had to do. And in IB, I did a lot of computer science courses, a lot of programming courses, and in York, I did a lot of statistical courses, which is the recipe for any data science position. It's math, stats, and programming. Fun fact about me, my mom has taught O-level and A-level tuitions for about 15 years. So you know how there are people who like to write? In our family, it was always numbers. As Kinza mentioned, during my graduation, I was working as a sales associate at Source. I loved the relationship building of my part, so continued into a B2B sales position after my graduation. What was really interesting about that, there was a lot of sales element on that, but what was really interesting, what I enjoyed a lot, was creating proposals for the CEOs and CFOs on their projects, and that always brought down to the analysis of which project are we going to do more first. So they had 8 projects. We had to figure out which was going to bring the most efficiency, which is going to bring most performance management, which is going to be the highest return on investment. And I was doing that as an external team member, because at that point I was going to them with solutions with products. So which product would be best for them. And I know, contrary to most beliefs, right now my job is pretty much the same. I am now solving internal challenges for my internal stakeholders on which project should they do, which deployment should we be working on, which software should we be buying. For example, should we move from SAP BI to Power BI, or should we not? And what insights can I give them from their daily businesses that we're generating? So it was actually a very natural progression, because solutions and recommendation is what I love giving. And that was same in sales and same in data science. Now, HR might not think that, and it's up to you to make them believe that, make them believe in you. And we can talk about that in the Q&A section, how to tackle the job market.
Yeah.
That's a bit of an introduction.
We can also talk about if degrees are necessary to get into data analytics and data science, but that was a great introduction. Just a quick summary here, that her background is sales and math in the academic perspective. In the professional perspective, it was always sales. And then it grew into a strategic position that is understanding of the products, solving internal challenges, and we'll move into more examples of what those internal challenges are. So that was the first question from Wardah, saying that what got you into the field of data science? where the data science is more like a very hot title of 2019 of 2020. And I want to say that there are a lot of misconceptions right here. And the first misconception starts with the fact that what actually is a difference between business analyst versus a data analytics. So I'll repeat, analysis and analytics.
So I would say, and no offense to anybody who's in that job, because there's always a lot of other things you're doing, but I'm going to simplify this for the layman audience who's not been in any kind of position. Business analysts and business system analysts are traditional roles that are part of any project. You have a project manager, you have a business analyst and a business system. They focus on processes, documentation, requirement gathering. I have met billions, not billions, that's too much, a lot of business analysts, and they have nothing to do with data for the most part. Now the trend is changing that a lot of business analyst positions do require you to know some visualizations tools like Power BI and Tableau. But traditionally what it's been that business analyst would be an analyst on the user side, gathering requirements from the business, putting that in a functional and non-functional requirement document. They are the owners of the BRD document, which is a business requirement document. And you'll get to know more. And then comes on the same project, you have a system analyst who's on the IT side, who takes those user requirements and translates it into IT requirements, into requirements that are easily readable for developers, works with developers to figure out the solution. So that is in a nutshell what a business system analyst does. But there's a lot of things. There are business system analysts who are working on databases. There are business system analysts who are doing all the data frameworks, who are doing bad jobs. There's like a lot. But if you want, and then comes data analytics. That's all numbers, math, stats, trend analysis. So I would say a lot of people go like, oh, they did a degree in computer science and they want to get into data science. Sure. But if you don't have the knowledge of stats, or you don't like math, or you don't like crunching Excel sheets, you won't enjoy it. If you are a more processes person, go for a business analyst job. And if your HR person tells you that you need Python for that, just question them. Just ask, go up, be confident, be like, why do you need me to know Python for a business analyst position? What is it that you're doing? I want to know. Because then the HR person is not hiring for a business analyst position, they're hiring for a data analytics position.
Good point here. So you're saying that HR today, or people, or hiring teams, or hiring executives, or recruiters may not understand what they mean by a data analyst or analytics position.
100%, because I know data scientists in my company who are just working on Power BI, which is a visualization tool, and they're data scientists. I know people.
Data scientists?
Yes, they are.
Okay.
Because it's such a new phenomena that people don't know what is data science, right? Like, and that's what, even when I think I got into it, it's a deep hole. And if you have a job description which says they need 10 things, I would say, and I've done that honestly, I'm not lying to you. I can open my LinkedIn and I've sent an email to hiring managers and recruitment that why do you need this? Like, why do you need me to know TensorFlow? Why do you need me to know R? I mean, I don't want to get into technicalities of it, but why is it that you need me to know all of this? And that comes from confidence, which I think comes from my sales background. Because that is like, that gives me that, just approaching them with the right attitude, I would say.
That's right. So can we say that a statistician 25 years ago who kept him or herself up to date, learned the programming languages, had some statistical background, understood what machine learning, artificial intelligence was, just kept up to date with the growing trends and pace, would that statistician of 25 years ago be called a data scientist today?
100%. So that would be, so there are different kind of roles in data science, right? That person would be going towards more on a modeling side. So I would say there is an advantage of a person who has a computer science and a math background. So if there's a computer science guy, so he will be really good with extracting data, working with databases, but he will not have that business knowledge. And that which model to be used, like when to use linear regression versus logistic regression. And the same goes for statistics. I have a girl who's a data scientist in my team who is a PhD. And obviously PhDs do a lot of analysis and a lot of trend analysis and a lot of stats. Now she's really good with all the she's good with Python also. She's good with, because Python is like, you can have Python for development, you can have Python for statistical analysis. It's literally libraries. It's very easy. And I'm not saying because I know this, I'm saying because a year ago, I had no idea about Python and I learned it within 6 months. So that person lacks the SQL and the database knowledge. So they use sometimes a balanced team. And for a data science, if you have any people who want to become a data science manager, I would say have a person who knows the database really well and have a person who does modeling. Finding someone who does both and finding someone who can actually put out the results to business leader will be a tough one to get.
So you're saying that as an individual, as a professional, I need to have a good understanding of both the business landscape and also understanding how to visualize data. And then the third thing is to present that data into a meaningful, insightful manner. So we have a question right here from Umair Shah. And he says that for someone who does not have a computer science background at all, how does that person enter into the data science market? And they might have understanding of tools such as Tableau, SQL. So how do they enter the data science market? And Wardah, let me put it down. I think you could, for our guests, make them understand that getting right into data science may not be a right path. You have to start from the bottom, like you said.
Yeah, so are we going to go towards, so asking the Umair that question is a great question. And I would say that I am not a computer science major. I did computer science for 2 years, but that was back in 2009. I had more math knowledge. You do not need to know, okay, let's get this straight. Someone who has a computer science background will have an edge over you because they have been ingrained 4 years of data structures, data flows, databases. They've done a degree in computer science. That's same as like an engineer who's ingrained those mathematical and calculus and all those concepts. But having said that, that's the beauty of data science. And that's why a lot of people are trying to get into is that you don't need to be a computer science major. You only need to know how to extract data. And if you want to go into a data science role, there are different roles. For a data engineer role, so let's backtrack. So there's a data analyst and data analytics role. There is a data engineering role, and then there's a data science role. So there is a career trajectory to that. And sometimes you don't even want to get to a data science. So I think if you're more into stats and model building, you can go towards data science. But if you're more of a person who wants to work with data warehousing, data structures, ETL, then you work on a role which is data engineering. And data engineering, most of them don't have to know that much math, but they need to be good with computer science. They need to, like, and it's same as like for them, they might learn SQL, which might be a language that they're learning new to, but because they know Java and C++ and they know how to write the code, it's easier for them to write that code. I don't know if that answers your question, but absolutely, if you're not a computer science background, you can get into data science. But I would say look at more analytics sort of position if you're a business grad, because there you'll have an advantage over a computer science person, is because you'll be able to grasp the business knowledge, the business products, the business strategy faster. And I'm not saying that computer science people can't, but mostly the way like how I worked with someone who's a computer science, they want to be always writing code while someone in the business wants to be presenting. So you need all of these people to complement each other to build a good, robust data science team.
So how about we show them our slide where we talk about roles at this time?
Sure. Someone's telling me that they can't hear me. Is that true for everybody?
Is that true for everybody? Can all of us hear us fine? Okay.
Yes, Umair is saying yes.
Yeah, great.
Can hear you. Not a problem.
Great. That's good. So for those who are not able to hear us, please click join internet audio and you'll be able to hear us fine. Okay, great. Any technical issue, just give it on the chat and we'll be able to answer. So while Wardah was talking about roles, we have a nice little slide to talk to you about those roles. So I will share my screen in a bit and let's talk about it.
Sure. I love this one. Okay.
Yep.
So HR and hiring managers want all of this in one person. It can be possible. So if there's a job out there, unless it's Amazon or Facebook or Google asking you for that, then they're a different part of the world. They were doing data science before people even knew what data science was. Netflix is built on a recommender system that's telling you, today you're going to get off this session and Google's going to start sending you courses to do on data science. So that is how advanced they are. You can't have all of that. So know that you don't have to know everything. You just have to pick your niche. And I would say starting off as data analytics professional, which is what I am. So I was in sales and I did my master's. And normally what happens is that if you're trying to pivot, people tell you to start from the bottom again. And the stage of life that I was in, that didn't allow that. So I took it very strategically and I went towards sales analytics, which kind of was, and my manager, that's his words exact, that when he hired me, he didn't hire me because I was the most technical person on the team. Because his words to me were that I can teach you technical. I can put a team of experts in here, put you in a room and teach you all the coding I want to teach you, but I cannot teach you your curiosity nature, your innovation nature, your problem solving nature, which is what he found out in that interview, your ability to talk, your ability to discuss results in a manner that's simplified and just easily accessible to the VPs of the world, because they don't care if you're running a linear regression, logistic regression, classification model, KNN means, they really don't care. All they care about is, I need to increase sales. I will do this. This is my solution to increase sales, and how much my sales will be increased, and by how much, and how efficient would it be, and how much whatever your business problem is. So that is what I would say. A lot of people who are trying to get into data science don't. And I'm not trying to discourage you, but just try to see what you have 5 years of finance experience. Utilize that and go into financial analytics. I'll give you an example. So I have a team of people that I work with. They are doing all the profit loss, EBITDA, all the P&Ls. They're doing everything. But when it comes to, and in the times that we are COVID-19, when it comes to strategy, when it comes to predictive modeling, they use my insights that I have from my forecasting model to create their models, to like input their models. So now imagine if they had someone in their team who could make those forecasting models for them, who could use data science techniques or statistical techniques or something as even, I don't want to get into too technical details of it, to build that model in their team. Imagine your value. So you're someone who knows financial models and someone who knows data analytics. So you'll be more valuable than me because all I know is data analytics. I don't know financial models. That goes for HR. If you're in HR and you're like, okay, you know what? I love numbers. That's the first thing. You got to love numbers to get into this. You got to be able to get your hand dirty. It is not easy. So for even a data analytics job and a data science job, and I think I'll walk you through the whole process of the data science project, but 80% of the time, your time is spent on cleaning the data wrangling, mapping the data. So I'll give you an example. In my company, I have user headcount data. That headcount data, the name, like Kinza came to work with us and she said, in my HR data, I want to be called Kins. Her, they ask you that. So in that headcount data, her name is Kins. And now if I want to map her data to any sales data, I'll have to create that mapping, right? Because it's not direct connection that I can do. And this is just one person. I'm talking about 30,000 employees, 40,000 employees. So you need to be able to write code that will do it dynamically rather going in an Excel and clicking on one by one. So that is a bit description. Data analytics professionals, they're collecting data, they're analyzing data, they're creating reports. A lot of visualization tools is a good to start off with. BI tools, Power BI is a really great tool, and a lot of people who are good with Excel, I would say start with Power Pivots in Excel that uses DAX and M language that you can use for a Power BI. And honestly, there are people who are just trying to do data analytics and become data science, but there are people who are just Power BI developers, and they make the same. If monetary gain is your, in the end, if that's what you're looking for, a monetary reward, they make the same money. So that misconception that a data science is making more than a data engineer who's making more than a data analyst, that is completely wrong. Everybody is an expert in their own domain, and they're all making the same amount of money. It depends on how good you are. If you are a kick-ass BI developer, no one's better than you. They're going to give you their money. If you're a kick-ass person who can create models with high prediction values that are 98% accuracy, which obviously doesn't happen, because normally the accuracy, the data is so bad that your accuracy is like a 78 to 80% accuracy of a model is good. So that is something I would say, like, take this as a reflective. Don't just go behind a title, oh, I want to become a data scientist. Figure out why do you want to become a data scientist? What is it that you like? How can you, and if your skill set will be able to benefit the company you're in. And one thing I want to tell you, for a business analyst and business system analyst position, there is continuously learning of product, which any company gives you. But for a data science position, there is continuous learning of new libraries. A friend of mine just created a new library in like 15 days. It's called PyCaret in Python, and everybody started using that. So if you don't have the appetite to keep learning, the curiosity, nature, and ability to problem solve, don't get into this, because you're competing with people who love data.
So
Yeah.
I have a question for you. And this is just a quick summary question to summarize what we talked about regarding roles. I work for Pizza Hut, and I am someone, I'm maybe a data analyst, data scientist, I don't know. And my strategic team or my executive team or my product development team has asked me to create the best recipe of pizza that will be liked by all segments of the market. And I am here sitting on my desk, and I have data of million years, and I have to figure out what's the best pizza flavor that will be sold out to the market, and it will sell like hotcakes or hot pizzas. So who am I?
Don't put pineapple on it. But
Yeah.
who are you? So I mean, it depends, right? Like at that point, you could be a data science person. Honestly, it really depends on what they've hired you for. I mean, if you're someone who can extract that, because how it works in a SQL database is, and I don't know if you can, I don't have a slide for that, but how it works is that in a SQL database, or in any kind of rational database, right? What happens is that you have data stored in table formats. So you have customer information which just has a name. Then you have another which has the address. Then you have the one which has their age. So you need to first join all of this data and connect. That's like transform that data into a meaningful Excel sheet even that you can use. So that is something a data analytics, data engineer, and data science, all of them can do. But it depends on what comes into your role, right? And if someone's asking you to figure out for the masses, you're gonna first tell them that's not how things work. We're always like marketing 101. Your customer segmentation is what you do. So I would go back to that VP and be like, sorry, I can't give you one pizza that'll be like maybe a cheese pizza, but then there'll be a lot of people who'll be allergic to cheese. So again,
okay, you have to have business knowledge. That's what you said. It all comes back to that. Okay, so we have a question from Fatma Naeem, who says that she has computer science background.
Okay.
And she is looking forward to, and she's looking into pursuing a master's degree in data science. And she's thinking about, well, because she's looking forward to doing it or pursuing it, she wants to know what's the value of having a master's degree today in data science, and what does life look like post that master's degree?
Similar to what you have right now. Honestly, like right now, these days, the master's, I mean, I have a master's degree, which I had it after it. Also, I mean, my question to her would be, and if you can just maybe have her ask me that question, I can have that dialogue with her, is that how much years of experience does she have? Is she just a fresh graduate out of school who's going to do another master's? It's not going to add any value. If you really want to do data science, why do you want to do data science? And if you have the right aspirations to do the data science, go ahead. And I think in the end of our presentation, which you'll be sharing with everybody, there are courses like Udemy, Coursera, EDX. Go there, learn data science from there first, then go to Kaggle, take out data sets, start working on the data sets. If you're in a computer science job right now, I would say every company right now, especially like in Pakistan's telco is doing so much. It's incredible. I have some friends in Pakistan, the amount of geo analysis they're doing, it's amazing how much they're doing with analytics. Go to your manager, tell them that I've done computer science and I've done these courses. Can you please put me on a data science project? You will learn 10,000 times more by working on that project, by knowing when to use which out of all the theory that you've learned, which model can be applied on your real data set. Do that for a year or two. Practice at work, practice with dirty data sets rather than, even Kaggle data sets are somewhat easily accessible, right? Because it's an Excel format or CSV format. But in real life, data is not that easily available. You have to, like right now, just to find out how much my sales have dropped on a week basis, I had to connect to 7 different tables, 7 different data sources. And that wasn't easy. And it took 2 days to do that.
So you're saying for a data, engineering the data, sanitizing the data is most of your life?
Yep. I think you muted me.
I didn't. I can hear you.
So it says you muted me. So yeah, I mean, data wrangling, data cleaning, because the thing is garbage in, garbage out. I can run a model, like writing code. People get very daunted by like, oh, I have to learn Python, I have to learn R, I have to learn this. Come on, like, take a step back. Learning coding is not, because Python is literally writing English. And I'm not saying because I know it, I hated C++ and Java, I hated it. That's why I moved to an econ degree, because I hated it. Python is literally just writing codes. There are libraries that make your life so easy. But if you don't have that business knowledge of what you're trying to write, it won't do you any good. Like, I'll give you one example. It's COVID-19 these days, right? Our sales are down. Everybody's sales are down. And this is real example. My VP came to me. He's like, why are the sales down? I told him COVID-19. Then I told him the third time when I was telling him COVID-19, I was like, you know what? This will be an easy layoff for him, because if the answer is always COVID-19, he doesn't need me here to analyze anything, because he can just tell the CEO that it's COVID-19, and when it's back, we'll bring Wardah back. She'll have better answers. Then I got more creative with it. I saw that what campaigns were we running last year? What's the difference? So I found out that the difference, like, yeah, there is COVID-19, but there's also the fact that last year when we ran the same campaign on that particular team, the tenure of the rep was higher. That means they were better sales. They had more experience in sales, and they were tackling their customers in a very different way than what the new team is doing, which is also the reason the margins are dropping. It's not just COVID-19. The other thing that I'm being tasked to do is that all our regions are saying, oh, our sales are dropping because there's this much impact of COVID-19. So there's a data set online, which I'm going to be extracting, which will tell me that, okay, the RVP of New York is saying that my sales have dropped down by 50% because 50% sales overall have been impacted by Corona. But I will bring that data in it and do the mapping and find out the correlation between our sales by segment that are dropping, if that's directly related to the amount of sales overall or the economic disruption in that city or state. Now, is this what I would do on a daily basis? No. Is it what was asked to me by my manager? No. I got creative with it. So if you don't have that creativity of how you can get that, how you can solve a business problem, because in the end, it's not about coding, it's not about computer science, it's not about stats. What the VP cares is, how will we solve the problem? How will my attrition reduce? Making a forecasting attrition model for them, that how many people I'm going to lose, what's the predicted value, and if my predicted value is accurate or not, and how can I work with HR to make sure that if 5 people are going to quit tomorrow, we have people in our pipeline to back them up.
So
go ahead.
After all that hard work that you've done right there, and you were creative, you were innovative, you had the business knowledge, you had a good, strong understanding of how data needs to be connected, what kind of dynamic models are to be used. That took you most of the time, right? How do you present this information to your executives? Do you take all that hard work and say, here you go? Or how do you do it?
One slide.
Are you serious? One slide for all that hard work?
One slide. And that is another key. If you are a good presenter, if you can tell a story by data, then you have more advantage over someone who loves Python. Because in the end, a lot of people say you can get a really good coder, but you can't get someone who can translate those results to a VP and get their buy-in. If I am telling them to invest in something and I have the best analysis and I know, but if I can translate it and if I can convince the VP to do what I'm asking, what I think is good for the business because data is telling me, it's all in vain.
It's all in vain. So after so much hard work, so much coding, maybe so much programming, you're supposed to present that information in one slide. That means your communications should be on top, and it comes through experience. Communication is not a thing that you gain just out of a master's degree. You might gain technical knowledge, but experience, you say, is vital to this field. Now, I have some questions from people here, but let's summarize the world of data science by giving out a definition to them that they can take away and maybe stick it in their heads or on the fridge, wherever they want. What is actually data science? So let's just quickly summarize for them in a quick definition, and we'll proceed to what's the life cycle of a data science project after that.
I think what is data science is trying to extract as much meaning as you possibly can by asking the right questions from the business holders and getting insights from the data, which is mainly done by statistical methods. I would say that. And it's really, in fact, it's a very impactful job. It's on you how impactful you can make it. I think I lost Kinza.
Okay. No, I'm right here. Okay, so my question is, the next question that I have, I think it's true to the definition that you gave right here. We have Frida who's talking about, is there a correlation between risk analysis, data analytics, or analysis? I think this was one of our structural questions and one of the initial questions where we drew the difference between analysis and analytics. We'll just quickly summarize for them if there is a correlation between risk analysis and data analytics or analysis.
Yeah, I mean, it's all using like I mean, I'm not a risk person, to be honest. Wealth management is not like my forte, but there is, right? Like if you have to predict something by using statistical models, then you are an analytics professional. It's just when statistical modeling comes into any data, then it becomes a data analytics position. And if you're using like unsupervised learning, like machine learning algorithms to figure out predictions, then it becomes an AI business problem. I would say AML analytics is also a really hot field. A lot of fraud detection, banks are doing it a lot. Like banks do supervised learning on your patterns, on your spending patterns, and they know about a fraud or like when your credit card is stolen before you do. And there's someone who's doing that job. So when I say risk analysis, yeah, there is risk analytics. It's just learning. It's honestly, that's what I'm saying. Your current job can be easily moved to a data analytics role. It's only just going to your manager and asking them, what is the problem that I can solve for you by using data?
Or maybe
then working with your, sorry?
There have been many occasions in your experience where you have taken a problem and you've solved through data, right?
Yeah, 100%.
Fun fact for all of us right here, regression analysis or regression modeling is also called supervised machine learning. So there are aspects of machine learning in your current life right now. It's all about how supervised or how unsupervised it is. Okay, so can you share with us a life cycle of a data science project from the starting to the end?
So I would say I'm going to keep this very simple. It starts from a business problem, what we're talking about, why and what are we solving from. Then it starts from extraction of the data. The data is not readily available. You have to have skills. You need to know SQL. You have to know how to, sometimes you're getting from web-based, scraping from web-based, from Python script, online websites. So that's extracting data is the second thing. The third would be data preparation, data cleaning. When if you go online, there is a data set on Titanic where someone ran a machine learning algorithm on it to figure out that how many people would have jumped the ship. It's a really good data set. I'll share it with people. I love looking at that data set. There are a lot of missing values. There are a lot of outliers. There's a lot of duplicate values. You have to get rid of all of that. You have to make sure all the date formatting is the same. All the units, if they're in centimeters, meters, they all have to be in the same format. So that is a bit of data preparation and data formation. Then comes the EDA analysis. What is basically is that and I would say for any data science project is that once you've cleaned your data, visualize it. Visualization, and you can use it if you're using R, you can use ggplot. There are NumPy is the NumPy is the library in Python. It's just when you put a data in a chart form, you can figure out what's an outlier, what's the noise in the data, if it has if it's normally distributed or not, where are the skews, because if data is skewly distributed right or left, that's not a good data set. You need to normalize it. And then there are techniques to normalize it. You can use log or whatever, right? That's going into the techniques of it. Like 80% of the work is honestly getting your data into the right format, because if your data is not normally distributed, your prediction is not going to be accurate. And after you've done that, you go to feature engineering. So what is feature engineering? Basically, feature engineering is a science and art of extracting more information from your existing data. So what happens is that you have age, you have gender, so you have wages, right? Now the wages are, you have like Kinza girl, 29. I don't know if that's your age, Kinza. I'm sorry, I don't know that.
Make me 50. Couldn't care less.
Making $50,000 or making 60,000. Then you have this line by line. So what you can do is you can create a feature which will bucket, and that's called binding. You can bucket that data into different fields. That is a feature. Then you run an analysis on that, regression analysis, to see which of those variables are impactful on your model, on your predictive value, which is like looking at p-values and all that. So that's all math. So that's what I'm trying to tell you. If you don't like the math behind it, it's not about coding, because all these step-by-step process is online. You need to copy paste. If you don't, literally you can copy paste the code and you're good to go. But if you don't know how to interpret the result, which p-value to extract, you're in for a tough run. And then you apply for a data model, and in the end you present that data. So that is just basic version of it. When you're creating models, there are people who you would actually, like, if you're creating model for a health company where you have to figure out if the next patient is cancer patient or not, then there are false negatives and false positives. You have to run like 50, 70, 100 models to figure out which is the correct model. So it depends on if it's which flavor of pizza is required. Then someone who is a basic data analytics person who's done data science masters or who's done like, will be able to do it. But when it comes to who will have cancer, if this patient has cancer or not, that's more of a person. Most people who have PhDs in stats will be working on that.
Awesome. So I think that is a quick round understanding, a full round robin understanding of what data science is. We first created the difference between analytics and analysis. We then talked about the different roles that are there in the field of data science. We then talked about how is data science different from any data analytics project. We then talked about a life cycle of a data science project. We also said that you need to have a good combination of experience, math, statistical, computational programming, logical methodologies to understand how to make insightful, meaningful relationships out of different tables of data. People still have questions, Wardah. People still have questions about the life cycle that we talked about right now. Looks similar to an econometric analysis or something like that. The truth is, I am a project manager, and my life cycle of a project is similar to yours, except I don't do data analytics or analysis. I prepare my data, I prepare my business data, and it's usually past business data. I'm not doing statistical models to make judgments about what the future problems are going to be. So I think people will have some similarities, but do you have anything to say on maybe something that the life cycle that we talked about right now has similarities with econometric analysis?
100%. Like I said, so I have two data science. So I am a strategy analytics. I didn't want to get into the technical field. I can do the technical, which is, I think I have the advantage that I know the technical and then I know the sales business. But I have two data science in my team, three data scientists in my team. So one is more of a data engineer. He's building the pipeline for our Power BI model. The other one is a PhD in neuroscience. And she's done so much statistical analysis that for her to pick up the stats part was really easy, and she learned the computer science. The other one is a core computer science major. She's really good with database. She's really good with SQL, extracting data. She's pretty much everybody's go-to person for getting that data in a form that can be used. What's beneficial for me is that I know SQL. So in my job, I don't have to go to a data scientist to extract that data from a table from me. Because normally what happens is that if you're a BI analyst, which we didn't speak about, but a BI analyst is that you get a data in a format that is drag and drop. You need to build it in a report and then analyze it, find trends, find patterns. But if you wanna be making more money, you wanna get the harder job, right? You wanna do a job which is hard for someone, which requires more skills. So I don't know if I answered that, but yes, a lot of statisticians are data scientists.
Yeah. So there is a funny question. I wouldn't say a funny question. I think it's a smart question. And Wardah, you would enjoy this question as well. So we have someone, let me just go back to their name. And let me know if you guys don't like me naming out the person who's giving out that question. If you want to be anonymous, let me know too. They say, is it worth all the hard work? What's the salary like? So they want to know, can you share a data scientist salary range or hourly rate? I mean, that information is easily available on Glassdoor. But again, from your experience, we'd like to hear from you. And the best part, which I love, is it really worth the hard work? I want to know about that.
So it really depends. I mean, that's what I said in the beginning. So there are positions which are business system analysts, business analysts that pay you the same and that do not require the same kind of work, same kind of hard work required. A data science is an ever-growing field. And now it's also, I think data science is getting a backseat, and now it's more AI, recommender systems, supervised learning, NLP, text analytics is what the world is going into. I would say if you don't have the passion, like literal passion for the data, don't go into it. If you don't have the appetite to keep learning, especially like I think about the fact that girls who are your young mothers and stuff like that, who cannot spend after five to actually learn new models, don't get. But having said that, you'll be surprised. A data science manager or a senior manager is not that technical. He has people under him, or she has people under him to do all that job. And there are people out there. So there are people who, like, I would say University of Waterloo graduates, brilliant coders. They're the one, they don't want to climb up the ladder. They get paid a lot to do, they like building stuff. So they don't want to be managing people. So it really depends. Like I'm not someone who wants to learn a lot of models. That's why I didn't get into the data science. I know what the models are. If someone asks me like what model to be used, I can tell because I've done a degree in it. But my role was, I used analytics to go more on the strategy and sales analytics side, and maybe reporting analytics. So for that, you don't need to know model buildings. You don't need to know models. And when you come to a role which is like a super senior manager role or manager role, you don't need to get your hands dirty, right? So it's about that 3-4 years of getting your hands dirty. And by hands dirty, I mean like having that chutney wala role when your chutney is all over your hands. That's how dirty your hands get with that data.
So with all that chutney, can we also talk a little about AI? Because now we've talked about data, we've talked about analyzing data, visualizing data, doing predictive analysis on top of it. Can you put a little cherry on the top by just giving us a brief introduction to AI? I mean, there is a different session we can have on artificial intelligence, but where are the trends going in terms of that? So you briefly discussed that now it's machine learning and AI, which is in vogue. Should a current person be boggled by these buzzwords?
It depends on what you want to do, right? Like in the future, I think AI is the future because there'll be less, like I think in the future, if I'm having this moderated session, I might have a robot asking me these questions rather than you, so you're not wasting your time. We already have vacuum cleaners, we already have robots, we already have Alexa. That's all AI, right? That's all machine learning. That's all, like how it works is like, to give you like a basic of things, is that you show a computer a dog. It's mostly unsupervised learning. You show them a dog and then you keep showing them the dog, you know, like how a baby, you keep telling a baby it's A for apple, A for apple, A for apple, A for apple, then finally learn it's apple.
Great example.
That's the thing, right? You keep showing them a picture of a dog, picture of a dog, picture of a dog, and then one fine day you show him a picture and it'll say dog. So that is what AI is going into. Text analytics is really major. A lot of telecom are using it for a lot of them have recorded now, right? You don't get a person you talk to. So when those machines record you, then whatever they're talking about can be transformed into like buzzwords and what words were used, and you can do classification on text analytics. So that's a whole different field, very interesting. But again, if you want to continuous learning, like when it talks about money, honestly, I would say a product manager, a project manager, a business analyst, a business system analyst, data science, you'll be surprised, they're all probably making the same money. If you're a kick-ass product manager, you're going to get that money. If you're a kick-ass data scientist, you're going to get that money. But if you're going into the fact that, oh, I'll get money, that's not how it's going to work. You have to be really good at what you do because you are at the bottom line. You are the one who's creating solutions for problems that will go up the chain. So if you're not doing a good job, that means your manager is in a problem, your senior manager is in a problem, your VP is in a problem, and then your SVP, CEO. Like, honestly, you are the most important person off the chain when it comes to like something like, I run a forecast model for my company and I'm amazed by it, but whatever number I give them, is their number that they're going. They're like, oh, they're using that in our ONL sessions, which are basically our all hands call session. They're saying, oh, we're predicted to have 95. We're predicted. I mean, that's my prediction. Now we do accuracy analysis also, that how much, but that how accurate I have been with my predictions. But for that you need data. So I could possibly be doing a bad job for a year. Nobody would know because they all don't know how I do it. And then, I mean, you don't want to do a bad job because then the market is really small. But I'm just trying to tell you, the whole concept of don't go in for the money. That's all I would say. Go in, because if you just, there's this the business system analyst who only need to know SQL and have a bit of business knowledge, and they make good. Like if someone asks me for an hourly rate, they're making $65 to $70 an hour, which is a good amount of money. And yeah.
Okay, so we've talked about the overall process into getting into this field. We've talked about the process, how one can naturally progress into the field. We've also put down a clear, bold statement like, don't go in for the money, understand data, love the job, love whatever job you have. You could be an HR, you could be a marketeer, and you can move into data science. You could be a product manager, you could be a project manager, even someone who has Six Sigma, black belt. They're playing with a lot of data and they can naturally progress into that field as well. So good, thank you very much. I now have a good understanding. What we will be doing for all the participants that who have joined us today, we'll be sending you the presentation that Wardah has beautifully created for us and for your assistance as well. She has also listed down the courses that she recommends are good to at least get a beginner level or basic level understanding of what data science or data analytics is. She's also pointed out places like Kaggle, places like Data Camp, where you can play with data. And then you also mentioned about that there's a data set about Titanic, where you're predicting.
So I would say for people who want to get a data science job, if they're very passionate about it, how would you differentiate with someone like me? Or, okay, I'm in the market already. If someone who's not in the market, I would say is that if you are someone who wants to be writing code and actually solving problems, make a GitHub account. If you don't have a GitHub account, that's like that's like having like being a blogger and not having an Instagram account. So you have to have a GitHub account. Start solving problems that you see online. Go to Kaggle, find data sets, and see if you can actually compete in Kaggle as well. And there's actually money involved as well. Like if you get a higher prediction, they open up competitions, and then you can get you can make a lot of money as well if that's what you want to do. But start putting in and then when you go to a job interview, just show them, this is all what I know how to do. These are all the models. This is why my prediction. And you will honestly gain so much more attention than someone writing in their resume created a model. That does not help anybody, to be honest. And even in your resume, if you're write what model you created, how much efficiency it increased, what accuracy, how much money did it bring the company? Because in the end, it's all about how much money you're generating, or if you're saved employee. Like my employee attrition model is being used by my VP, who has now been able to save 10 employees because I've predicted that this is the behavior. This person is gonna, quit. Okay. So that is what I'll say.
Okay. So we have the last 5 minutes, and I will open the floor to question answers through web chat, through webcam, and you can also speak directly to Wardah. We have first question from Muhammad Ali Dariwala, and I would unmute Mr. Ali Dariwala. And Mr. Ali, you're actually live with us, and I'll just repeat the question that he had from you. And he says, what happens when your data analytics and the results that you forecasted, actions do you have taken that you have taken there when actuals come in? How many times have you been proven wrong? And then what are the corrective actions you've taken? So essentially, I think Muhammad Ali is—
It's me, Muhammad Ali. Hi, Wardah.
Hi.
You know me.
I know you, but I can't see you, so I don't know where you are. But
okay, yeah, I'm not in a very good shape to be seen right now at home.
All of us.
Okay.
So I think your question was, so how it works is that we have our sales leader calls. What are they calling at? What are they calling? How much they're going to close at? Because I work for a sales organization because I was a sales associate, and I worked as a competitor as a sales executive in the company that competitor company that I'm working on right now. So how it works is that I have a predictive model which is built on the run rate opportunities, open and book probabilities, probabilities on if a deal is in the pipeline is in commit, or is it in best, if it's gonna, what's the probability of its close. So it's different variables that I've taken into account on building that model that outputs a number. And then we compare that with every week, we compare that with the RVP, the leader scores, what are they calling, what are they going to be at? And then we figure out, okay, if my predictive model is saying that and they're saying that, so this is like an insights generation Friday for me that I have to figure out. And a lot of those answers sometimes are coming from the data, but sometimes are coming from the business leaders only, right? So you have to have that. If you are someone who just wants to be behind a computer and do not want to talk to business leaders, then you might have trouble in a data science job, because my Fridays are booked with all the RVPs and all the leaders of the companies, and all figure out, okay, man, you're saying that our sales are going to be down in the US East region. Why are you saying that? I see this number. Then they tell me, okay, this deal is actually in commit, but we don't think it's going to be committed. So that's why his is lower. So our actuals to my forecast difference is normally 2 to 3%, not more than that. And that's just
that there is an aspect of peer comparison as well, not just with executives, but also your contemporaries, also with your colleagues, that you guys compare your results as well.
No, we don't compare my results with, no, we don't do that, because I mean, that's just repetition of work. What my results are compared with the leader's call. So every leader has to give their forecast too, right? Like every region has a forecast, every category has a forecast. So, and then I have a predictive model. So they have to align in, right? Because if I'm saying we're going to do 95 and they're saying they're going to do 75, then there's obviously an issue with the model. And it all depends on the probabilities, right? The probabilities of open and booked deals and stuff. And like there's an R code running behind it. So there's a lot of, it's a big, it's a robust model that is taking place to give us those results. Okay. But again, it's not just that a model gave us the results. We said, okay, good to go. We're comparing with what the business leaders are saying, because business information is highly valuable.
Okay, great. So any more questions from the participants here today? Hi, Miriam, once again, I'll unmute you so that you are with us and you're talking to us one-on-one. There you go.
So, yeah, so I wanted to also, I have some experience in analytics. I won't say it's like, actually, it has been an actually data science role. So what I found was like, so I have a background in economics. I did a master's in economics from Waterloo. But during my co-op experience as an analyst, what I found was that people were not really interested in actually knowing, like, so as an economist, when we are doing an econometric analysis, we have to check if there's a selection bias. We have to like perform all these sanity checks if the data makes sense, and we have to correct for those biases. Like there's just so much work that goes into seeing if the data is actually an accurate representation of reality. But what I found during my work experience is nobody cared about that as long as they were able to apply a fancy model and present a compelling story, since the people who were higher up in the management, they did not have that much like statistical background, and they did not care. So that kind of discouraged me a little. So like, have you ever faced that, and what's the solution? Because I feel like I'm good with the technical part, but I'm not very good at explaining like what problems there are in the data, because they don't have enough background there. And people who are good at creating stories sometimes take advantage of that. Not all people, like as you said, you also have like business and economics background. So obviously, you pointed out that pizza problem, that there can be no perfect pizza because there is customer segmentation. But then I've known people who would just go and just run some kind of model and come up with any kind of result and say, hey, this is the perfect pizza recipe. So have you ever experienced, and like what to do about that?
So like I always said, it's all about the business problem. It's all about selling your idea to the VPs and RVPs and having that connection, and also having I would say having I'm not getting the word, having someone who believes in you in the company. So my manager, if I go and tell him I want to do this, he always asks me why, how is it going to benefit it, what is going to be the benefit, and if the leaders are going to like it. So because the reality of the job is that there's a lot you can do with data, but there's only little that the company wants, because it depends on how focused the company is, and it depends on what company you're working with. The telcos of Pakistan, I know, are doing a great job. But then when I speak to the CPGs, they think analytics is making a Power BI dashboard. So that is, you don't need to get discouraged. You also, that person who's building a fancy model, like I said, a lot of people get daunted, oh my God, we have to learn Python. Building a model is 8-line codes. I can send you all that code. You put in your data, it'll give you an accuracy level of 95%. It won't be accurate. So that person will probably excel in the short term.
Yeah, sorry about interruption. So yeah, I'm not worried about building a model. I'm worried about what data is being put into the model.
That's what I'm saying. So that person will do well in the short term, but in the long run, like Mohammed Ali Daryawala asked me, that when you compare the results, they won't be accurate because your data is garbage. You have to compare those results with actuals. Like if I'm predicting that Mariam, Kenza, Umaima, Junaid will quit tomorrow, I've built a fancy model, I've put in the data, garbage data. But if you don't quit for the next 7 months, then the VP is going to be asked, when the VP is going to ask you, man, what is she predicting? Like, yeah, the model has 90% accuracy, but her predictions are wrong. So it takes time. And I would say don't give up, because you need to test and train the data. But there's a lot of companies, like in my company, a data science person kind of, I think is at somewhat of disadvantage because the data is so messy. It's so hard to create a good prediction. But then they still have their jobs, and I think I've probably, like if I tell you as an analytics professional, I worked on 8 projects since I joined, and I joined in September, and the data science probably on their second project, because it just takes so much time and so much input from the organization and so much buy-in from the company leaders, because they don't understand it, right? Like, we're gonna give you that RFM model. Okay, what is it, right? Like, just tell me if this customer is going to be good.
I think that's a great note to end, and I will share something very funny with you on this note. Mariam, maybe you were talking about these people. Look at this meme. Just make up a bunch of data like everyone else does. Everyone else does? Are you doubting my data? So I think, Mariam, you were talking about these people who make up those fancy models, but then they're like useless. I think that's a great note to end on, and it's 1:03. Thank you so much, Wardah, for that insightful session. I know you've done much more beyond that, what you've just spoken about. You have a list of courses for our friends right here. Everyone who attended this meeting will give you a gift, and there are 3 gifts. So I know that it's very hard to describe the roles in the field of data science. So we have an infographic for you that summarizes this session. We have a presentation from Wardah herself, where she is giving a good summary of whatever we spoke about, and also a list of courses where you can do your courses from. And if you want to jump into the master's degree of data science, you need to love your job. You need to love that data. That's what she's saying. And people who love data and could be working as project managers, product managers, or HR or marketing, they can naturally progress into this job as well. We talked about some of the tools as well, some of the tools such as R, Python. We talked about some data libraries where you can go and put your creativity on. So we'll send you that presentation as well. And on top of that, we have an offer for you. Those who are interested in a session of Power BI, please let us know and send us an email on info@ibaalumni.ca, and we'll give you more information on how to register for those sessions. So
sorry to cut you, but just to add you, Power BI is a really good visualization tool. There are for the person who asked me about salaries, there are people who are just Power BI developers. They make about 100K in Canada, just Power BI developers. They don't look at models. They're just good at extracting data and visualization. So visualization of Tableau and Power BI, there are roles that just do that. So I just want to tell you how niche the market is. You need to find your niche. Don't decipher from like, oh, Mariam has a question. Go ahead.
I'm sorry. So yeah, so you're saying how niche the market is, but like, so there's this concept of hidden job market. So I've been exploring jobs for like over 6 months now, and I don't see those kind of jobs. So do these jobs kind of get posted? How to find these kind of jobs? Because I have all this experience you're saying, but I am unable to find such jobs. Usually the kind of jobs that are asking for data scientists, they are asking for person who has experiences data structure, Hadoop, and all of those sort of things. They just don't want a person who has Power BI experience or an R experience.
Give us that cute example that you gave me yesterday about Hadoop, please.
Oh yeah, that they want Hadoop, that they want 10 years of Hadoop experience when people just started using Hadoop like 2 years ago. Yeah, so Mariam, that's a great question. And I think I have a whole session on venting about how to get a job, how to market yourself. Like I do that. I go to Access Employment. I talk about all that. I'm like, I have a great thing of like not getting a job, like how to get yourself out there. So I think that would take me another hour of conversation. You can call me sometime later, or we can just book another session on just networking tips for data science roles. I would say go to Indeed. For now, go to Indeed, go to sample resume section and go look at BI developer. See 10 resumes, see what the job description, because those people are actually working for Rogers or for big companies, right? See what their jobs are. Figure out if you qualify, if you have those skills, then make your resume look like that and put it on Indeed, and then recruiters. But it's literally an hour session of how to approach the job market, because I did not. So I was, like I said, I was in sales. I had moved into more of a analytics role, but I was in a data science. So this was my first role that I got into, and I would say a lot was due to my master's too, but a lot was due to my networking. Just a master's doesn't get, masters gave me the knowledge, but it was my networking that got me the job. So yeah.
So Wardah, why don't you make your LinkedIn public to us right now? Because there are a lot of people in the chat who are asking who have more questions and they'd like to reach out to you. So folks, please be informed that Wardah Mughal is our guest and she can be easily searched on LinkedIn. I'll just do it in front of you. I'll just go to her profile right now and share the screen with you. I'm going to share my screen in a bit. Just give me a second. Okay. So let's look for Wardah. Right here. This is our girl, Wardah Mughal, and you can get in touch with her on LinkedIn, ask her more questions regarding how to land a job, how networking tips for the interviews, and any question under the planet that you might have in the realm of data analytics and data science. We look forward to a better session and an even more improved intense session next time with you, Wardah. We love you. I love you. You know that. and
there is for people who are in Toronto, we're setting up, my company is setting up a new team, which is data governance. Before you jump into it, data governance is a different field than data analytics. It's very different.
Yes.
So research it. But if you're a data governance individual, we're setting up a new team. We're looking for like 5 in this COVID times. We're looking for, because we have a major business transformation project. I am on good terms with the senior manager. So if I think you have the resume that will be liked by the company, because my company is very like they hire personalities rather than, so I can help you guys there. But do not send me a message if you are a core developer that I want to be a data governance. I'm not going to respond, because that means you haven't done your homework.
Okay, so we're 10 minutes beyond our session today. Thank you very much thank you everyone who attended this session. Thank you everyone who participated in the session. And thank you, Wardah, for a wonderful session and an insightful session. We will get in touch with all our registered members who attended this session with the 3 gifts that we promised you. We'll be talking soon. Thank you very much and take care.
Thank you.
Bye.
Bye. Take care, everybody.
Bye.